The next major campaign was fought on even tougher ground.
It was probably the most violent and vicious racist city in the South. There had been 60 bombings of black people's homes in Birmingham in '61 and '62.
One target for the movement in Birmingham was to desegregate the schools. Alabama's governor, George Wallace, had promised they would stay white.
And I say segregation now, segregation tomorrow, and segregation forever.
Our demonstrations in Birmingham were usually simply marches to the courthouse or to City Hall. And we almost never got more than 2 blocks from the church, and then we were arrested.
Day after day, hundreds of demonstrators filled the Birmingham jails. Among those arrested was the organizer of the Birmingham campaign, the Reverend Martin Luther King, Jr. By then, he was the acknowledged leader of the entire civil rights movement.
My heroes for the second half of the 20th century, Martin Luther King. All of these people are people who accepted the fact that you have to put everything online. Because if you don't, you're not going to get anything. Not in America. Because America is not going to change. Only you can change.
As part of the campaign, Dr. King enlisted an army of school children, aged 6 to 16. After the first day of demonstrations, nearly 1,000 of them had been herded into police vans and sent to jail. The next day, the police changed their tactics.
The law enforcement in Birmingham was headed by one Bull Connor. And Bull Connor was an old-fashioned lock 'em up, throw 'em in jail, throw away the key, beat 'em up, put dogs on them, hose them down with fire hoses. Anything he could think of to try to stop this movement by force, he did.
I watched the violence in Birmingham on TV. It shocked me to see the dogs being unleashed on people, and it shamed me.
This was the front page of every major newspaper in the world, and it told a story that America was ashamed of.
Fires of frustration and discord are burning in every city, north and south, where legal remedies are not at hand. Redress is sought in the streets. Next week, I shall ask the Congress of the United States to act, to make a commitment it is not fully made in this century to the proposition that race has no place in American life or law.
Trying to raise congressional support for the Kennedy Civil Rights Bill, civil rights leaders called for a march on Washington. On August the 28th, 1963, more than 200,000 people showed up.
We knew it was a special day. And once I got there and saw the crowds coming from all over America, black and white, poor people, rich people, show business, politicians, Martin called it a coalition of goodwill, or a coalition of conscience that could change the soul of the nation on the race issue.
This was bringing a mass meeting into the homes of millions of Americans who were seeing this thing that I had seen over and over and over again in small town churches everywhere, seeing this for the first time and hearing the oratory of America's premier orator, Martin Luther King.
No, we are not satisfied, and we will not be satisfied until justice rolls down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream.
I remember thinking when I saw Martin Luther King that he was going in his dream to bring the nation along, that he was irresistible in his call to mercy and love. I mean, that he was absolutely the most irresistible voice that had ever been heard.
Freedom and justice, I have a dream. My 4 little children one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
You know, I was a little young. I do remember it. Martin Luther King was a very powerful effect on me, but it wasn't so much that I understood what he was saying, but I knew that he stood for me because I needed somebody to stand for me.
We will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
To me, that day represented one of the finest hours in American history.